Okay, today I'm going to talk to you about how to grow pea shoots, and these are one of my favourite crops to grow, and they're particularly good if you're starting out, and that's because they're very easy to grow, and they also grow very quickly. So these have been in the pot for just 3 weeks, and actually they're slightly bigger than I wanted, but the weather's been so bad here, I haven't been able to get out to film. So they're also really delicious, really good to eat as well. And you can eat them raw, like I've just done, in salads, or you can cook them and add them to stir fries or risottos. Now, one of the great things about them, as well as being easy to grow, you can also grow them very cheaply. And that's because you don't need to buy seed packets. You can actually just buy dried peas from a health food shop or a supermarket, and they will usually germinate absolutely and grow absolutely fine. So I'm not going to show you how to grow them. It's very straightforward, very simple process. And the first thing you need to do is just soak the peas for 24 hours. Now the reason for doing that is it just speeds up the process, the germination process. So I'm just going to put some peas now into a plastic pot and cover them with water, and we'll come back tomorrow and see how they're doing. Okay, so these peas here have now been soaking for 24 hours. They've expanded quite a lot, as we can see if we compare them with some seeds that are unsoaked, and these ones are now ready for sowing. Okay, so we're now ready to fill our container with compost, and what I've got here is just something 1.5–2 inches deep, and that will be quite big enough because we're not growing the peas into big plants. We don't need a lot of soil and a lot of food for them to grow. And you can find trays like this often at vegetable stalls, fruit stalls. This actually used to contain cherries before. It looks quite pretty. It's also already got holes drilled in the bottom. If it doesn't have any holes, then it's a good idea to make some, because that will enable the water, when you water them, to drain out. So I'm now going to fill this with compost, just about 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch from the top. And normally when you're growing vegetables you need really good quality compost because they're very hungry, but what I found with pea shoots is that they're quite unfussy, so you can use any multi-purpose compost you can find. Should work absolutely fine. I'm actually using here municipal compost, and municipal compost is made out of our waste food and grass clippings and that sort of thing, which the council collect and make into compost. It does vary in quality. Sometimes it's very good and sometimes it's not so good. The stuff I'm using here is sort of medium, really, but it will work fine for growing these pea shoots. So here's our compost now, and I'm just going to give that a good water so it's nice and wet for the peas. And now I'm going to sow them. I'm just going to do this quickly. You can spend a lot of time placing them in neat rows if you want to, or write a name or something, but I'm just doing this quickly. So I've just put some in there now, and I'm just going to space them out. Really what I want is about a gap. You can plant these really close together because we're not growing them for big plants, we're just growing them for small shoots. We can plant them really close together. So what I try and do is sort of leave space about the size of a pea in between each one. There we are. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm just going to add a layer of compost on the top, about the same thickness, the compost on top as the thickness of a pea on top. There we go, just covering that up. Firming it down, just lightly firming it down, not heavily. Making sure that the peas are in good contact with the compost. And then I'm just going to give that another very light watering to make sure it's wet, and hey presto, there we are. So how quick your peas grow and how quickly they're ready for harvest will depend on how warm it is. And at this time of year, in the summer in the UK, even though it's very cold, relatively speaking, for our summers, they still will be ready in like 2 or 3 weeks. These have been in the pot for 3 weeks, and they're actually slightly bigger than I would normally let them grow, but still fine to eat. And all you do is just harvest them just above the bottom leaf, and actually some of them will also regrow and give you another shoot. And that's it. Very simple. You can actually grow these nearly all year round. I've grown them even in winter. They probably wouldn't stand really heavy frosts, but light frosts they seem to survive absolutely fine. They do grow quite a lot slower, but it just makes them a very flexible and easy crop to grow in a small space. And off a pot like this, you know, I've got probably about half a pound, quarter of a kilo of pea shoots in this. It cost about 15 pence, that's sort of 25 cents to grow. Yeah, it's a brilliant crop for small spaces.